What's Crack-A-Lackin? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into another episode of My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Sleazebomb. Today's episode is going to be the last episode of the week, guys. I got it all out for you guys. I do head out of town Friday. We are going to be live tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern as well, leading into kickoff. This is going to be my 7 buy low wide receivers that are going to help you down the fantasy football stretch. And some of the names on this list, this is like an anomaly year right now with these wide receiver names on this list. And you know these owners that paid the high premium are in a panic right now. It is time to pounce on them with some deals and go acquire these wide receivers. Before we dive into it, guys, make sure you tap that thumbs up, hit that subscription button. It helps me out a ton. Can't thank you guys enough for all the support this year. Has been absolutely amazing. We also have the Guys FF Discord, me and Big Draft Energy. It will be posted, pinned in the comments and in the description of the video. We cover everything fantasy football off stream 24/7. Roster trades, dynasty values, dynasty player trades, DFS, pick'em plays, and we do all of that on drafters.com. If you haven't signed up on drafters.com, make sure you use promo code SLEAZE. It'll match your initial deposit up to $100. You can draft with us. DFS, we did best ball drafts all off season as well, and the second half best ball will be coming here pretty soon as well. Now, let's take a look at the wide receivers that you should be targeting this week. Here we go with the craziest number one that who would have thought we'd be here in week 4 already. And it is Jamar freaking Chase, the Triple Crown winner from last year. Probably your number one pick off your board. And the reason he's going to make this list is because that person that probably drafted them number 1 is probably 1 and 2. He's giving you 4 points in week 1 and 8 points in week 3. He had the big splash play in week 2, but Joe Burrow went down. And that owner is panicking. You know what you saw with Jake Browning, and you know they're going to play Denver this week too, guys. We have to realize that as well. He's going to get Patrick Surtain guarded here. Denver is going to blow this line apart. But could Jamar Chase go off at any single time? For sure, yes, he could. But this is the time to go buy this guy right now. Regardless, you're going to get trade rumors of Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Kirk Cousins, all that around if they lose with Jake Browning this week. You know that's coming. And just imagine Jameis Winston if he's on the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I know their offensive line is absolute trash, and that's another point you have to throw in there because Chase Brown can't run the ball for anything this season. He has more negative rush attempts than positive, which is absolutely bonkers. So they're going to be playing from behind. The volume is going to be there. This guy's the best wide receiver in football. The situation just absolutely sucks right now, and the owner's got to be shitting their pants. So you got to look at his numbers here too. So 27 targets, still top 10 there at number 8. 21 receptions, 241 yards, 1 TD. Still getting some rush attempts. You know they'll get him the ball any way they can. They'll give him an end around, 1 carry for 9 yards. Target share, top 10, 29.3%. That's what you want. Snap share, 89.8. That's wide receiver 1 level. And here you go. This is what wins Jamar Chase fantasy football games, is the deep target rate. 5 deep targets, 41.7% of the team. This is their superstar threat. 50 points on the season, wide receiver 11. If there's any possible way or any possible time, it is going to be this week or next week because they're going to play Denver. And what if he has another bad outing here at Denver? You're going to go buy this guy again. Like, it's going to be more of a buy now. So make sure you just go smash this guy for whatever offer you can for Jamar Chase because the volume is still going to be there in bunches regardless of the QB, regardless of the situation. This man's a pure superstar. Number 2, I told you these names on this list are going to be absolutely bonkers, and it's Drake London. And if you watched any of my content before the season, I had him as a dark horse wide receiver 1. I was banking off stats last year, which I probably should have, thought about more realistically when they're playing in week 17 or 16, 17, and 18, and you're playing against teams that are out of contention, and he pops off with his stats. It's going to be different in the season. I should have thought about that going in, didn't do that because I just saw the numbers and went bonkers, right? He was number 1 in air yards, number 1 in targets, number 1 in everything last year down the stretch, and we all might have jumped the gun and got a little too hyped there. But when you look at this season, you saw week 1, you saw him come out with 15 freaking targets. He's got 27 targets on the season. That's still top 10. That's volume you want. He's got 16 receptions, 159 yards. He's even got That's the wrong rushing attempt up there. He has 1 carry for, I believe, 8 yards, so not great there, but he still gets end arounds. Target share 25.7%, number 17, 87.9% snap share, number 21. Deep targets, again, this is what you want. You want the bombs. He's got 3 of them. He takes 28% of the team's deep threats right there. That's another thing you want. And 29.9 points, wide receiver 44, not what you paid at ADP. So obviously, you look at the last 2 games, you got 5 points and 10 points, and that was against Carolina, and they were down 30-0, and the volume still wasn't there. Is the Michael Penix red alert flag up? Yes, it is 100%. But that doesn't mean that they don't have Kirk Cousins behind him. That doesn't mean that they're going to find a way to get their superstar involved. You get Washington this week. This is going to be a good matchup for him. And then they're going to have the bye. So you know things are going to get fixed after the bye either way. And you got to target him right now, because the Washington game, if he splashes here and a bye happens, you're probably never going to get your chance at this, a player like this, or kind of like Jamar Chase at the beginning, ever again. This is an anomaly, like I said, first 3 weeks of the season for these superstar wide receivers that are struggling, and it's absolutely bonkers to me. Go get Drake London before it is too late. Number 3, another wide receiver drafted within the first 15 picks we're talking about here. That's Jamar Chase. That's Drake London. That's BTJ. That is how crazy this list is, and it's absolutely bonkers to me. And I've seen some ridiculous trades for BTJ even go down in Dynasty. Like, people have just given up after 3 games. Like, this guy wasn't a superstar rookie wide receiver who finished as wide receiver 4 with 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns last year. You can't just give up on that kind of talent right now. I know it's looked ugly with Trevor Lawrence. I also didn't know that Shane Waldron was part of their passing quarterback coordinator game, which he ruins wide receivers. So we're pretty much hoping right now that the Jacksonville Jaguars just start losing games, so a lot of stuff changes, because they've got to make a change here. Travis Hunter is not even involved in this freaking offense, and this situation is absolutely, it's ludicrous. And they're still 2-1, which is the worst part. But BTJ still 25 targets, number 15, 7 receptions. His catchable target rate is like 45% from Trevor Lawrence. It's been absolutely terrible. 115 receiving yards, 0 receptions. He's always going to get it end around here and there. He had a lot of carries last year too. 1 attempt, 9 yards, extra fantasy points you want. Target share 21.3. That's number 26. Snap share, I want to see this in the 95 for BTJ. 88.7. Still, that's still wide receiver 1 usage, but dude, last year he was in like 96. Deep targets, this is where he thrives as well. 5 deep targets, 50% of the team's deep targets go to him. That is what you want. You just got to hit him with 1. 25.4 points, wide receiver 54. Not what you drafted him at ADP. That owner is definitely panicking. And if they were at the turn of their drafts, right, this is what you have to think about as well. This is how my mind works here. I remember the ADP. I remember the draft board, right? What was at the turn? BTJ, London, Genty. That person is probably panicking like freaking mayhem right now. And BTJ hasn't even, his numbers are absolutely terrible. He hasn't even had a fantasy full PPR game over 10 points. And he's gotten 12 targets, 7 targets, 6 targets. This is volume you want. You have to go buy BTJ. The schedule they have, if this game right here, the 49ers, right? Think about the game here. You got no Nick Bosa, possibly no Michael Williams, the first round draft pick DN that we have. I'm a 49ers fan. I say we. The pressure's not going to be coming there off the edges for the Jags in this game. This is going to be a game, and our secondary is full of rookies. We drafted all rookies in the draft because we lost so many players because of salary cap issues, because we went for the Super Bowl and didn't get it, right? And yes, I hate it, but yes, we didn't get it. So this game is going to be probably the game where he explodes. That owner is never going to sell him again once they have 1 pop. That's how fantasy works with a top-tier round 1 talent, okay? So go get BTJ right now. 100% do not give up on this man. I am not giving up either. Number 4, and here we are again like it's 2024, Marvin Harrison Jr. Now this one's risky because I'm still willing to take the gamble on him just based on pure freaking talent. Obviously, the situation has not been great again. You know, he had his week 1 game and we all jumped on board. Like, here we go. The offseason talk of Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyler Murray, the connections there. But what you really look at in week 1, yeah, he got the touchdown versus the Saints, and he still only had 6 targets. And he's never had over 6 targets this whole damn season. This guy should be getting 10 to 12 targets a game. It's absolutely bonkers to me. So we'll look at his numbers first, and then I'll break down why you need to buy him here. So 17 targets, number 43, 10 receptions, 142 yards, 1 touchdown, obviously the week 1 game. 5 attempts, 24 rush yards. I believe that's 3 attempts. I messed that up. Target share 19.3%, number 42. Snap share 87.6. You want to see that in the 95 range. He played 93 in week 2. In week 3, why is he playing less? I just don't understand the scheme they're using here. So deep target rate, he's got 4 deep targets, 44% of the team's deep targets, 30.2 points, wide receiver 43. Now, Carolina Panthers, he gets 4 points. San Francisco, 7 points. The owner is in an absolute panic, and if that person took that risk on Marvin Harrison from this season, which, I can't lie, you're probably thinking, oh, here's 2024 again. That owner is shitting themselves right now, okay? You get Seattle tonight, Thursday Night Football. Where do I have Marvin Harrison this week? I have him as a sit-him this week. This is going to be a very tough matchup versus a very good Seattle secondary, and you could possibly even buy him for cheaper next week if he has a dud game here, and then you're going to get Tennessee, Indy, tough game in Green Bay, and a bye. You come off the bye, you get the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to try and figure it out. They've got to get Marvin Harrison involved. They've got to use some motions. They're like the least motioning team in the NFL. He lines straight up and goes straight out. This guy's 6'4" or 6'3". Go get this guy the damn ball. Kyler Murray's shorter quarterback at the line. He could find Trey McBride. Why can't he find 6'3" Marvin Harrison Jr.? And you have to look around him. This is like a Garrett Wilson situation that should be amazing, but it's not because Garrett Wilson gets open better. Like when you look at Garrett Wilson, you got Allen Lazard, Arian Smith, and Josh Reynolds. Okay, on the Arizona Cardinals, you got Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch. Like, why? How is this guy not getting this many targets? It doesn't make sense to me. I'm still not giving up. I'm buying, and it's probably going to be even cheaper after this week. Number 5, we had to throw a rookie in there. It is going to be Matthew Golden of the Green Bay Packers, the first-round selection wide receiver that the Packers usually don't use on wide receivers. Now, you got to look at the season. You got Jaden Reed, who had the shoulder injury and the foot injury, double surgery. We don't know if his season's even going to come back or how much his ramp-up would be. And you've seen the uptick in snap share go for Matthew Golden. Week 1, 48%. Only deep bombs in those games, right? Which is, you kind of want to see a little underneath work, screen work. That was what was kind of worried me after 2 weeks. But when you have LaFleur, this guy's a very, very good head coach. Their offensive scheme is going to be very well. They're going to get him involved, and you saw it more. You saw week 2, the snap share up to 59%. Then you saw week 3 go up to 71%. Then you saw the underneath passes start to get to him against Cleveland as well, coming down with 4 targets and 52 yards in that game. And if you watch that game, you hope that owner that owns Matthew Golden did not see that Cleveland Brown game, because that catch where he went out of bounds, that was a 95-yard touchdown. He took 1 extra stride and went out of bounds. And we would not be having this conversation of a buy low on Matthew Golden if he turned that upfield. That would have been literally 17 fantasy points right there, however your bonuses were. It could have been 20 points, right? So we got to look at the stats right here coming up. 8 targets, 6 receptions, 68 yards, 0 TDs, 5 attempts, 20. He's got 5 attempts for 24 yards in his games. They get into rounds to their speedster. Target share, 10.8%. Number 80, that's going to go up. That's very low. Snap share, of course, 61% averaged out in the season, but week 3 was 71%, and that's probably going to go up even more. That's what you want. And then you got deep targets. He's already got 3. He's 25% of the deep targets for the team, and he hasn't even been out there that much. 15.2 points coming in at wide receiver 79. Now, you have to buy now. Like now. There's probably never going to be another time after the Dallas Cowboys game this Sunday night. The Dallas Cowboys, guys, let Russell Wilson throw for 450 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he just lost his freaking job. This defense cannot stop anything. Micah Parsons being gone has just put this defense into absolute shambles. Don't get enough pressure. Don't get enough time for the corners to cover long enough. And the deep balls that they're getting hit on is like 44% rate for the Cowboys. This is the Matthew Golden week, and you are not going to be able to buy him after this week, I promise you. Number 6 is Calvin Ridley, and I was super high on him coming in, and it just hasn't worked out yet. And you know that owner, we paid like 4th, 5th round ADP. The panic is on for Calvin Ridley, and you're hoping that owner hasn't noticed that they relinquished the play calling from Brian Callahan to Bo Pedigree, who's the QB coach, which is the same kind of situation when you say QB coach for the Jags and Shane Waldron. So that shows you right there that they have a talk in the offense. Now, Calvin Ridley, only 21 targets. That's 7 targets a game. Still volume. I like chasing volume in fantasy football. 8 receptions, 111 yards, 0 TDs, 0 rush yards. He even got, at his age, he gets end arounds here and there. I expect him to have a couple carries here and there to tack on some fantasy points. Target share 23.3, top 25 there. That's what you want. Snap share 88.1. You'd like to see that in the 90s. He had 95% snap share week 1. I don't know why they're dropping him down. Deep target rate, only 1. That's terrible for Calvin Ridley. He is a deep bomb specialist as well. 20% there and 19.1 points. It's been horrible, to say the least, guys. He's got 6 points, 8 points, 3 points. But he's got 8 targets, 6 targets, 7 targets. That's averaging 7 targets a game. What is going on here? So I know Cam Ward, you got to look at the schedule. They played Denver. He got Pat Surtain, number 1 corner. I said sit him that week. Number 2, LA Rams. Or week 2, they got the LA Rams. And then week 3, they had Indy, and you thought he'd splash. And it hasn't been there. So could it be the Cam Ward, rookie, first starting quarterback, 3 games in, getting his feet wet? The play calling has been terrible. That's why the play calling is changing. And you're going to get Houston this week. So you could even in this situation pump the brakes for maybe 1 week again here and be like, we get him in week 5, right? Because he could get Stingley, who's a superstar corner for the Texans. I haven't seen if he's out there yet. If Stingley's not out there, you're probably going to have to buy him now, because the Houston Texans, their weakness is against the pass. Their strength is versus the run. And they're going to open up Calvin Ridley here. It's like they forget, like last season, man. This guy, his volume was insane last year. He had 120 targets for 1,000 yards, and it was still bad quarterback play. They've got to get this guy involved in the game. They're going to make him part of the game plan. Amenor has been getting garbage touchdown last week, and people are hyped on Amenor. This is still the wide receiver to own in Tennessee. Maybe they get Tyjae Spears back in week 5, and it gives him a little juice and speed in their run game and opens up the wide receiver box a little bit for Calvin Ridley. But I am still buying this guy at all costs. He is a wide receiver 1 with not a lot of competition around him, and I'm not throwing the crown or saying that Amenor is bad, but he's a rookie, guys. And you still got old man Tyler Lockett out there. Like, Calvin Ridley should be absolutely going off from here on out. And then after you get Houston, you get an amazing schedule coming ahead. This is what you want. You get Arizona, Las Vegas. Those are 2 teams that are struggling mightily versus the pass. So, like I said, if it's not Stingley this week and Stingley's out this week, you got to buy him now. But if Stingley's out there, you could maybe wait a week and probably get him for maybe even cheaper if he has another bad game here. But I'm buying Calvin Ridley 100%. Number 7, and this is just bonkers. And this one is absolutely crazy to me, because these are numbers that is just honestly not possible, but it is possible. So, Chris Olave, and if you've been subscribed to the show or heard me all offseason, this was my number 1 target at value in every single draft that you could get, because I'm a volume chaser, and I know that the Saints are going to play 90%, 99% at this rate of their games from behind, and they're going to be passing in a Kellen Moore system where they've utilized Chris Olave in the slot at a 50% rate. Even Jawan Johnson's tied with him at like 45%. They mix it up. They don't just use him on the outside like before, which has got Chris Olave way more involved in the offense, and everyone was worried about the concussions. Of course, 1 concussion, yes, of course you're going to be panicked because he had so many concussions, but that could happen for any single player. That's a bad narrative to go into your fantasy football draft with concussions. If it's like 2 ACL knee injuries like a J.K. Dobbins or like a Nick Chubb, I understand that. But concussions is not really a thing unless you have like freaking 8 of them that worries me about it. So I was all in on Chris Olave, and we're here. Look at the volume, guys. 37 targets. He's number 1 in the NFL. That's what you want. This is blood. I can't believe the numbers just haven't popped yet. So 23 receptions, 165 yards, hasn't found the end zone yet. Obviously, the quarterback play is bad with Rattler or Shuck, but still, volume is volume. That is what you have to think about in fantasy football. 31.9% target share. Number 4. That's what I want. Snap share 89.9. That's great there as well. That's why receiver 1 numbers. Deep targets. He's even got 4 deep targets for 29% of the team's targets, and he only has 39.5 fantasy points. It's absolutely crazy how you can lead the NFL in targets through 3 weeks. He gets Buffalo this week. Probably going to see 13 to 15 more targets. They're probably down by 30 points at halftime, and you only have this many points to show for it. It's bonkers to me. He's going to find the end zone. It is going to come to fruition. This guy is a very, very elite wide receiver. We knew that coming out of college. You have to even look ahead at the schedule. And it really doesn't matter. So, like, it's schedule-based with the Saints. It's not going to matter. And they might even trade away Alvin Kamara with the rumors you're hearing now. So, or maybe Chris Olave might get moved to a better situation as well, too. Maybe a wide receiver injury has happened. Guys, injuries are going to happen in football. That is just the nature of the game. This is a big boy sport of grown-ass men. They're massively huge. I mean, I went to the 49er game last year on the sideline, and I'm 6'1", and these guys could crush me with their freaking hand like that. Like, dude, Trent Williams is massive. But so you get, again, back to the schedule. You get Buffalo, the New York Giants, New England, Chicago, Tampa Bay, LA Rams, Carolina. He's going to see 10 targets a game in every single game, all the way down, all the way through. And say he gets traded to a contender with a better quarterback play, he'll even thrive even more. Chris Olave is an absolute smash buy for me. And that owner that has him is probably like, yeah, they're probably like my wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, because he's just a flex play right now. He's going to become more than that. This volume is unheard of to not put up more numbers than this. I absolutely am buying Chris Olave everywhere. Thank you guys for rocking with me today for this week. That is the last episode of the week, guys. I got all of the content out to you that I could possibly pump out before the Thursday night kickoff here. I do leave out of town tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Mama Slee's 60th birthday. We're going to Vegas. I will be back on Tuesday. So I'll start smashing all the content again for you guys on Tuesday. It'll be a later start next week, of course, as well here. So if you want to check out all the rankings, every position, start, sit-ems, everything there, sleeper plays, smash plays, I got everything out that you guys need. I will answer as many questions as possible. I might have a little more time here. We got a flight and all the stuff there, the family coming in. So I'll be able to answer more questions on YouTube as well. So if you guys have any questions, drop them in there. I'll try to answer every single one of them. Before we head out, guys, make sure you tap that like and subscribe. Hit that thumbs up. All the support's been absolutely amazing. And if you guys haven't checked out the Guys FF Discord, make sure you do. Pinned in the comments and in the description. And again, if you haven't signed up on drafters.com, shout out to our sponsor. Make sure you sign up with promo code SLEAZE and you can draft with us, DFS, everything like that, guys. That's it for me this week, man. I hope you guys enjoyed all the content. I will be back Tuesday. We'll be back in action, dropping everything again. Can't wait to see you guys there. And if you guys remember, I'll be live 7 p.m. Eastern again tonight. So if you see this video later, whatever it is, make sure you pop in there. I'll be taking all your questions. We'll go through every single question you guys possibly have heading into this week, and I'll try and help you guys out there. That's it for me this week, man. Sleaze Bomb out.